Hello, I'm Julia Symington and I'm from Symphysis Yoga and Healing. And I'd like to bring you some yoga spiritually that you can do on your bed. So here we are in winter. I'm just going to change the screen, and here we have a bed. And I'm just going to move around a little bit so that you can see the first thing that I'm going to do. Often we sit on our beds. Yep, so here, just sitting on the bed, I've got a bit of my thigh on the bed, and here I'm just going to lie down. And my knees are bent, and you can see my knees are just hanging a little bit lower than my hips. You can, of course, reach out and grab one of those pillows and put it under your head if you need to. So it's a beautiful stretch for all of the front body, and it just lets the feet hang. So my feet are just off the floor. I guess if you're 6'10", that you might find that your feet are on the floor. I can certainly stretch my toes down, but it feels really nice just to let my legs hang. And sometimes I like to take my arms out in just stop signs, or what I call traffic lights, elbows in line with the shoulders, and just let my upper body rest. This is really great after you've had a meal, and you can stay there for as long as you like. If you fall asleep, that's fine. So a lot of these things that I'm going to suggest for you are for you to enjoy. Beds are often restful places and pleasurable places, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, another of my favorite things, particularly when you get blocked sinus, or just to get a bit more stretch across the chest. Now, if I flip myself around, so yes, the bed's going to get a little bit messy here. I'm just going to keep my knees bent and just let my head tilt backwards. At the moment, you can still see me. I've got the base of the skull supported, but my head is going backwards. And for some of you, that might be enough, but I feel like I'd like to go a little bit further. And just let my head go backwards. And if you feel that that's too much, then you just wiggle yourself back on again until you find the comfortable position. Of course, you don't want to go too far that way and then find that you can't get back up again, particularly if you live alone. So you can let your legs straighten if you prefer that. You can take your arms overhead. Oh, that doesn't feel so good for my shoulders. So I'll just keep my hands here. But as I just rest here, I can start to feel the sinuses draining. Some of you will have done this with me over a bolster, but if you've got a bed, why not do it there? How long do you need? You might find that 5 minutes is enough, or 10 minutes. I first started doing this when I was on conferences and spent a lot of time sitting, and it was great. So about 5 or 10 minutes is enough, and you'll probably find that your timing will be what's important. If it doesn't feel so good with your head tilted back, then pull yourself back on. But if you decide, I think I could have a little bit more now, then let your head go backwards. Your body is going to tell you what you need. This is time for you to enjoy and to really become aware of what your body needs. Of course, if you sleep with another person, it's best to make sure that they're out of the bed, because we're going to move around a bit. If I just move around, so I'm now going to be at diagonals. across the bed. I've got one corner here down in my foot, and I've got my head up over the other end. So I've got a bit of space here for my arms. So here, if I just bring the knees into the chest, and we can do that, first of all, just one knee at a time. And if you want to get a bit of abdominal work happening, then bring your nose up towards your knee. And you can do that with the other knee as well. Of course, in the privacy of your own bedroom, if you do two knees together, that's fantastic for your stomach. And when you feel, you know how we've always got that, we've often had that feeling of, oh, my tummy just feels a bit full, and you feel like you've got some gas in there that needs to be released. Always good to do that when you're by yourself. That's it. Oh, that feels nice. You can let your head rest or lift it up. And then just taking hold of the shins and just rocking from one side over to the other. Because the bed's a little bit soft, you might need to just push off a little bit and try and hold your head up as you do this, bringing one knee over top of the other. In this version, the knees can come apart. It's quite nice and restful. Of course, you can leave your head on the bed if you like, but this will help to strengthen your neck if you hold your head up. And you want, each time you roll over, you want to get your cheeky bit up as well. Now, pretty much anything that we do on the floor in yoga, you can do on your bed. And someone said to me recently that they're a bit short of room to practice at home. So I thought, well, some simple things that you can do are sideways dog. So if you lift your head up, press the palms together and spread the elbows wide. So you've got a lot of pressure through the palms, and then come over onto one elbow so the knees are almost on the bed, and you don't want one knee to get left behind. Push it out and press the other elbow up towards the ceiling. So if I move my knees out of the way, you can see where the arms are, but you want those knees in really close to you. So my head's up, so my side neck muscles are getting strong here. And then with a big oomph, you push up with that elbow over to the other side, and keeping the knees together, over you go, and rocking from side to side. If it gets a bit wristy, try knuckles together. That'll make your arms longer, and really work on trying to keep those knees off the bed. So you can do lots of those, and then just letting the feet and knees come apart. Let the arms come out to the side. Just wriggle around if you can't get your elbows out very wide. You don't need to have your arms straight, but try and keep the elbows down. And feet just hip width apart, and let both knees drop to one side, and pushing the knees into the bed. So one buttock's really lifted up, and then go the other side. Now you can be quite slow as you do this, or you can speed it up. But you're really lifting this cheeky bit up and pressing the knees and the elbows down. I love the stretch it gives me along the side of the thigh, and they can get really tight. Now, there's two different versions of this, one with the feet and knees apart, which I'm doing here, and I find it useful to do repetitions. You might find it better for you to just hold the pose for longer. So if I bring my feet and knees together, that's a more powerful stretch for me. And some people find more beneficial. There's lots of different variations. You can take the knees across and then bring one arm across to get the back stretch as well. Now, an advantage for you is that you're also seeing things up a little more close than you would normally. And each time I bring my arm over, I'm trying to stretch it further. And you'll see my back stretch now. Now I'm going to go underneath the pillow. But I could also go more overhead and still go underneath a different pillow. And trying your arms in different positions will give you different stretches in your body. Just trying to work this shoulder down as the knees stay on the mattress. And one of my favorites is particularly when I get a cranky lower back when I get out of bed is to tangle the legs together, one leg wrapped around the other, and taking one knee across to the opposite, or both knees across to the opposite side. It's really pressing those elbows down. And then coming up, of course, you can do the arm variations as well. And taking the knees across to the opposite side. I find this releases my lower back in the morning. Now, I would usually do that 3 times each side. So the purpose of this video is to give you some ideas of what you can do on the bed. And another one that a friend of mine swears by is just bring the knees over the hips and keep the feet up and just waggle the feet side to side. You can see my hips are moving as well, and each time the side waist is getting lengthened. I'm trying to keep the knees and the feet together. And then feet down and bottom lifts, or mini bridge as I call it. So feet are a little bit apart and just lifting the bottom up a little bit as you pull your belly down. Because we're not looking for anyone to have the perfect body. We're just looking to be more comfortable in the body that we're living in. And making it accessible and easy and doable. This is fantastic for activating abdominal muscles, and also for releasing lower back. So if you're finding that this really works for you on the bed, then you might like to have a look at some of the other videos that I've posted, which are for things that you can do on the floor, and then you can just enjoy them on the bed. I also find this really restful. So if you find that you need to relax, de-stress, or lower your blood pressure, this one will really do it for you. Just need to slow yourself down. And if you need to speed yourself up, well, you can do it fast. But finding a rhythm that works for you. When you have those days of, oh, I just can't be bothered, then speed things up a bit. And when you find that you're just in top gear and you need to drop it back a bit, then slow yourself down. Find a different rhythm. And if you're always doing things at the same pace, then change the rhythm. Speed it up a bit. Become a bit more active. Put on some different music. Music to speed you up or slow you down. Music can make a big difference. And why not try one hand on top of the other? And go around in circles, down the left-hand side, across the bottom, and up the right-hand side. Stay inside the bony bits. And if you find that your digestion is just a bit slow, then push a bit harder, particularly as you come down on this left-hand side, just massaging things along a little bit, particularly down for just underneath the ribs here. Just push things down and along. You don't want to do that on the right-hand side because this is your bowel where things can just be encouraged to move out and down. So on the right side, you want to encourage things to come up and just underneath the liver, encourage things to move across. So you might have heard that expression of feeling a bit liverish. So if things are a bit stuck, we want to move things along. So we all get a bit out of sorts when we're stuck. Now let's come over onto the tummy. And sounds like a bit of moaning and groaning here, doesn't it? Oh, there. I'm just going to bring the elbows in and keep the hands apart. And because I'm sort of running out of space here, I've just got my feet up. So I'm making the most of that and just doing some ankle circles and lifting the head up. Just bringing my elbows back underneath the shoulders. So I'm trying to stay broad across here with the shoulders down and the neck long. It's probably a bit easier if I keep my feet down. And there's another pose. And as I'm doing this, I'm just pressing my pubic bone down and asking my belly button to lift up. When I'm on the carpet, I can get that belly button lifting feeling. On the bed, I can't feel that because the bed's just a bit softer. And one that you might enjoy, I call it beach pose, where you just let your elbows come forward and rest your forehead on the hands. That's just to stop my nose squashing into the bedspread or the doona. And then once more, elbows in and head up. And releasing. So sometimes I like to do the version of just letting the head, the shoulders come right up around the ears and lifting up and coming back down. And if I just flip over onto my back again, I won't do it against the wall because I've got a painting hanging there, which is quite large, but you can do this. I'm just going to grab a pillow and just pop that underneath my bottom. Oh, and then just stretch my legs out. That'll give me a bit of extra stretch here. Probably 2 pillows would be good, but it does give me a bit of an arch across my back. And then if I took 1 leg up or 2 legs up, now if I didn't have that painting there, I would have my legs resting on the wall so that I didn't have to put the effort in here. And I would probably have a couple of pillows underneath my bottom. It would be quite nice to have my legs resting against something. But it's quite easy for me to get down on the floor too and do that. Now you can have the legs a little bit bent or the legs straight up the wall and snuggle yourself in as close as you can to the wall, so the backs of the legs are close to the wall. When I do this on the bed, it reminds me of when I was touring in Rome, and a day when I just walked and walked and walked and walked and walked, and it was so good to get home and just put my legs up the wall on the bed. Much more restful if you can have something to put your legs against. And I'll just bring my legs back down again and take that pillow back out. And one of my favorite things to do, which can be really restful, is to, just as you would do in bed, rest your head on the pillow. Now, pull the knees in and maybe pull the pillow in a bit closer so the knees and your nose can come really close together. Now, this is child's pose on your side. Now, if you do this for 5 minutes on one side and 5 minutes on the other side, that will be a really restful thing for you to do. Doesn't matter what the feet are doing. You can point the toes or pointing the toes immediately feels a bit more restful than drawing the toes back. This is a restful position. And just being aware of the breath. And curling your head in a bit tighter. So if you do 5 minutes on this side and then roll over to your other side and 5 minutes on that side, you'll be doing yourself a really big favor. So each of these poses has been to take tension out of your body, to help you relax a little more, and to feel more at ease. So they'd be perfect for you to do before bed so that you can sleep really well. If you sleep with someone else, probably best to do them before they get into bed. Otherwise, they might not like you wriggling around too much. That's just a bit of my wacky humour, but I certainly find this a bit more restful than I do on the floor. You really want to bring those knees in as close as you can and just snuggle your arms wherever they're comfortable. Now, when you think you've done 5 minutes on that side, just roll over to the other side. And you might even want to get into bed if you're doing this at night time. And if you drift off to sleep, that's terrific. And if you're at home, you can do this in your pajamas or whatever you wear to bed. And if you don't wear anything to bed, then maybe get under the covers because you'll want to be nice and warm. Now, if you've enjoyed this, I'd love you to put a comment up on YouTube. And if you've got friends that you can share it with, even better. One of the values that we have in spiritual yoga or yoga spiritually is the sharing of energy. Why not share this as well? So I hope you've enjoyed it. There's just some little tips from Synthesis Yoga, Yoga Spiritually. See you later. Bye.